presentations. So with that being said, I'm going to start in the audience. Is there somebody who would like to testify that's in the audience?
Yes, Randy, there
Okay.
is.
Would you please come over, say your name, and
My name is Mike Boston. I'm with Windermere Peninsula Properties in Belfair. I've read the paperwork presented by the county on what the direction is, and there's a lot of information that doesn't seem to be there. I've talked with officials from 6 different counties. This is a $30 billion industry, and Mason County is finally coming to the notion that perhaps it should be regulated. The regulations have been started by the state, whereby short-term rentals are now being treated as businesses. But I don't see anything in the county paperwork about treating the short-term rentals as a business. UBC changes, the Unified Building Code changes, going from residential to commercial. And I saw nothing in there that addresses that. I didn't see that short-term rentals should have a landline. In case of emergency, cell phone, dialing 911, they are not gonna know, the facilities are not gonna know where to go. And so each, at very least, each of the short-term rentals should have a landline, at least for emergencies. There's nothing in there about, it seems, about adequate parking. That is, again, an emergency issue, letting ambulances and fire trucks get in and out. There has to be access and egress. I saw in the start of looking at regulations, there's also the question of enforcement. Every realtor on the face of the planet understands if you're going to have regulation that you have to have enforcement. And the question that I would have this morning is, how is the county going to do that? Are we going to use a compliance organization, as is used in Eugene, in Hood River, and in other places, companies online that you can hire to make certain that short-term rentals are compliant? So that it's not just a what are you gonna do, but how are you gonna do it? And so I'm following along with the bouncing ball here. If you would please, continue to publish information. There are a number of us who are watching this.
thank you.
Thank you.
So again, for those that are you here for the same thing?
I am, but
Okay.
I'm just listening.
Okay, for those that are on Zoom, again, I want to clarify because the hearing went so long, we just want to give you the opportunity to speak so we can hear you if you're not going to be able to be around for any future meeting. I did take in everything that was just said there. I actually would love if you can give me contact information, what those companies would look like, because I hadn't thought about that one. That was a new one. Some of the others we are contemplating with just doing a work study. We don't have the actual law yet. Is there anybody else on Zoom who would like to just give us a brief testimony right now so that we can just hear from you? If you can come back at a later date when we reschedule this, that'd be appreciated. But if you can't, we want to hear from you now. We'd hate to think that you didn't get a chance. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Phil. Please say your name, where you're from.
Yes, this is Philip Wolf. I'm from Allen. And I've read, I've skimmed over some of the briefing materials. But, you know, I mean, one thing I think that was kind of missed was that, so my neighbor, they recently purchased a home next to me. And she told me the only way she was able to afford the home was to be able to do short-term rentals. So, I mean, you know, one thing that's missed is that, I mean, this is driving up the home values of waterfront property owners and others. And, you know, I mean, we already pay the an outsized amount of the property tax in this county. So I'm just afraid they're gonna price out more people that live on the water, because of the rain, because of the increased values. What's been mentioned before too is about the shellfish. And, there needs to be, an education pamphlet. I mean, people will normally do the right thing if they know what to do, right? And I think what happens is people don't know about the regulations. I mean, or tidelands or what to do or not to do. So maybe that could be passed on, with everybody, that has a short-term rental. What's been, discussed about the septic systems. I mean, fortunately where I am at, we're in the North Bay sewer, but the North Bay sewer is essentially a septic tank, it's a low capacity system. It's designed to be a low capacity system, right? It's efficient, it works, but there can be failures, and you need to be able to have information on when to call. I heard in my neighborhood, that someone's pump was down, and then, they continued to use it, and, sewage was going into the bay. On the positive side, that it's well known that overnight stays increase the tourism rental. I mean, I'd rather have people in hotels and motels, but I understand there's still a need. So it just needs to be well managed and well thought out of all the implications of what short-term rentals bring. So thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Phil. Don Kay? We can't hear you, Don. Don, if you don't mind, please work on that and see if you can find something. I'm going to go ahead and come back to you. So for now, Terry, I see you have your hand up, please.
Yes, thank you, commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I also appreciate you guys looking at the rules related to this. I live in Shelton on Harstein Island, and I guess what I would ask for you to consider, I'm familiar with, we looked at buying property in the city of Ashland, Oregon, and kind of contemplated being able to use it as a bed and breakfast at times. But the thing that dissuaded us from doing that was Ashland, at least at the time, had a restriction where you had to come in for a permit, and they only allowed it a certain number of permits each year. And I can't remember, I think you got the permit for 5 years. And then you had to come back and apply for a new permit. And it was sort of a lottery system. And the thing I guess I appreciated about that is it kind of dissuaded people like myself from purchasing a property thinking that this would be a revenue stream. So I did like that system. I think that would allow a certain number of bed and breakfast, or a certain number of short-term rentals without us getting to a point where we go, where are we at? How did we get to this point where we have such a high percentage of short-term rentals versus residential? And so I'm not really sure, maybe you would do it area by area in terms of having a restriction and a permit required. So anyway, thank you for the consideration.
All right, thank you very much, Terry.
Randy, Ashland is on a zone system.
Yes.
So that they have
Actually,
limits on each,
I am aware of that one. I've looked at it.
I just happen to know the
Yeah.
Ashland system.
Okay, so now is there, again, this is for opportunity for somebody to speak if they're not going to be able to come in and see us when we go ahead and bring this back up again. Commissioner Schutte was recommending.
Yeah, I think if there's no additional comment, I think I'd like to maybe reschedule the workshop for May 7th at 1 o'clock.
So it'd be, and I'm seeing heads shaking here. If anything, we're going to be rescheduling it for the 7th at 1 o'clock. But if there's anybody that cannot be there and they feel they need to testify now, we'll give you your opportunity. Don, were you able to fix your?
Can you hear me now?
Barely, but yes.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if I can turn it up or not. My biggest concern with this as a permit technician for an HOA is that there isn't a good description of what the habit of dwelling is. So I would like to see something, if there is going to be a county ordinance, where it actually describes what can and can't be one. We have people trying to run them in tiny homes, RVs, and that sort of thing, which is prohibited by our policy, the HOA policy, but, because then you get into safety issues, ingress, egress, you know, that sort of thing. So just a definition of what can be and what cannot be.
And thank you. Some of the stuff we've seen actually had that included in some of the stuff that we've already been shown before. Is there anybody else who might not be able to be here that needs to testify now? If so, unmute yourself, say your name. I'm seeing none, so with the permission of the commission, we're going to go ahead and continue this for a workshop on May 7th at 1 p.m. All right, the commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to close.
Move we adjourn?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, we adjourn. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Okay, thank you, everyone.